Racing on Wednesday takes place out at Hollywoodbets Scottsville, our first taste of KZN racing action after the Hollywoodbets Durban July. And we've got 8 races to look forward to on Wednesday. Joining me in studio is Deez Dynand. And before we get into race number 1, Deez, just to touch on the Hollywoodbets Durban July and of course the Real Prince winning the headliner, the big event on the day. But it was a great day's racing and it was a spectacular crowd.
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. I trust that all the racing fans are well and are looking forward to bringing in the Gold Cup now at the end of the month. Yeah, congratulations to Dean Kannemeyer, Kaya Stables, of course, Craig Zaki, and all the winning connections are on the day, but the special mention and the day will definitely go to the Real Prince, proving that distance was no issue from a stout pedigree and family. And Dean Kannemeyer, he knows how to get them ready for these big race days. You know, you can never discount his chances whether you were on the fence with the distance, as many were. But it was a fantastic race day. I think hats off to Racecourse and, of course, Hollywoodbets and to everybody concerned in making that day a huge success. And time has flown by, hasn't it? We were just speaking about the Hollywoodbets Durban July not too long ago. It's come and gone.
Yeah, now we'll be touching on the Gold Cup, which is at the end of the month on the 27th of July, on the final Sunday of July. Race number 1 is the start of the bipot. Joint favourites numbers 1 and 2 at 18 to 10, 4 to 1 about number 6 Cassandra, 7 to 1 about the pair 4 and 5, and then it is 25 to 1 and better ball those. Now, D's number 1 Opera Fan finished second last time out. Step up in distance shouldn't be a concern. She did go 1,500 meters 2 starts back. And a filly that is getting closer to that maiden win as a 2-year-old. Number 2, Gimme Another Viking, 18 to 10. She's the joint favourite. If there is obviously confidence in the market with her and race time support, well then she's one to include into the play. But off numbers 5 and 6, I'm willing to forgive Cassandra for a last start on the poly track. I'm just going to say poly track maybe didn't suit her. She didn't get the cleanest of break. She wasn't particularly well behaved on the day. I think now going over distance of 1,600 meters back on the turf, I think we'll see similar to what she produced on debut, because running 1.5 lengths behind the golden goal is nothing to get excited about.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for Dean Kannemeyer for taking my call prior to the recording of the show. And he mentioned to me that number 2, Gimme Another Viking, maybe a doubtful starter, Rael. So we'll just keep an eye. We're recording the show. It's not yet official. It's not on the website yet. But whilst we're recording the show, if it does come through during the course of the morning, which is just over 24 hours before the race day, then we'll mention it on the show. But that may be a doubtful starter, but a very interesting entry over 1,600 meters. So just keep an eye there on number 2, Gimme Another Viking, if it runs or not. But just having a look at the way these 3 runners of the race runners, 1 Opera Fan, 5 Omina, and 6 Cassandra, what they represent, I think there shouldn't be much between these 3 runners, although number 1 Opera Fan is a clear standout if you're using the fixed odds betting as a guide. On that last start on the poly track was good. Draw 1 is a plus. But in leg 1 of the bipod, I'll be inclined to include numbers 1, 5, and 6. Cassandra has run on the turf and the poly track. She's put in 2 good runs. You could say she was slightly disappointing for her followers last time out, but the writing was on the wall when she drifted out from odds on to 14 to 10. And number 5, Omina from the Robbie Hill stable, vast improvement. Wow, from run 1 to run 2, she really enjoyed the step up in distance. So I'm going to go 1, 5, and 6 here. We'll have every chance to double up in leg 1 of the bipod. If I'm pushed for a selection, I'll lean towards number 6.
Yeah, I'm going to go 1 and 6. Those are going to be the 2 horses that I play around. And yeah, I'm going to be with you on number 6, Cassandra. 4 to 1 in the market, daughter of Active War. Perhaps she can get it right at start number 3. But that's the first race on the program.
Race number 2 will be the start of the place accumulator. 12:55 you need to get on the tote, 1,600 meters. It's a maiden juvenile plate. And as we bring up the field, we'll have a look at some betting, horses in single figures. Horse number 2 is French Warlord, MJ Ordendal and Marco van Rensburg. That's at 5 to 1. Sean Terry has got number 4, Master Spy, trading at 18 to 10. Then number 10, Brew, at 2 to 1. and number 11 is trading at Pitporter's run up 8-1. So, Ryan, it is the start of the place accumulator. I like one horse here, and I think that Paul Lafferty is now going over the right trip for this individual. He's had 3 nice educational runs. I say educational runs because he's been a horse that's, hasn't got going when the starter says go, but he seems to save his best once they turn into the straight. That's been at Hollywoodbets Greyville on the turf and the poly track. I think the course is going to suit him, but more importantly, having watched him race, even though he's poorly drawn, the 1600-meter trip is going to be ideal. I'm going to make him a banker in the place accumulator and the one to beat. The obvious danger is the unknown. I say unknown, but I've watched both of his runs in the Highveld. His last start behind, Elson's runner called Golden Warrior was a good effort, considering that Golden Warrior won by an absolute street and has since won again. That form line hasn't held up too badly. I think second in that race was Rejuvenate coming out to play. Sergeant Socrates has come out to play. So it's not the worst form line from the Highveld, although it was a stretched out field. So that looks the obvious danger, but I'm big on this horse, number 10, Brew, and I'm actually surprised that he's not the favorite. The favorite is Sean Terry's runner. I think come race time, number 10, Brew, will attract all the betting support. So I'm big on 10 to beat 4. And I think racing fans can take their pick if they're playing trifectas and quartets for the minor positions.
Yeah, I've kept a close eye on him at his last 2 starts, especially the manner in which after which he finished off his debut in D's and hit the line running. And then his last 2 efforts, I thought perhaps he would have gone closer 2 starts back. And then last time out, I thought it was the ideal race for him to deliver the goods, but was beaten by one of the outsiders in the race. So a bit gun shy with number 10, Brew, but he's improving nicely. And he will certainly make a huge claim here. Number 4, Master's Pie, I just thought he was given too much work to do last time out. Going through the 400, he was far off them, and Golden Warrior skipped away at the right time. As you mentioned, he's come through to win once again. And I think from gate number 4, a much kinder draw. He'll be a lot closer to the speed. He'll be a lot more streetwise. So I think he's going to be a massive, massive player. I think these 2 horses will fight it out. I think number 7, Digital Asset, will show vast improvement. Now going over 1600 meters. He's had 2 come-on runs for the Michael Miller yard. And last time out, I know he was beaten 7.7 lengths in a race that was a 1-horse race behind Star in Motion. But I can definitely see this horse improving further, as well as number 11 from the Pete Porter yard. So those would be the 2 horses that I look to include into trifectas with behind numbers 4 and 10. But I think it's a 2-horse race.
Well, it is a recorded show, but as I mentioned in race number 1, a doubtful starter is going to be Dean Caname's runner. Well, it's official during the recording of this show that Gimme Another Viking is scratching in race number 1. So thanks to Dean Caname for that heads up there, and he has scratched the horse. And I'll give you the time as well, 9:01, so you can know what time the show was recorded on Tuesday. That's race number 2, Brew, the horse to beat. Would you be including 4 in the place accumulator and byport?
Yes.
Okay. Ryle likes 10 and 4. I'm going to go all in with number 10 as one of the better bets on the card.
Race number 3, this is the start of the pick 6. 1200 meters is the distance. Maiden plate, 1:30 is the off time. Favorite is number 4, Next of Kin at 13-10. Number 10, Xenophon at 16-10. Number 1, Canal Scotter at 6-1. It's 14-1 and better bar those. Number 4, Next of Kin. I like the way this horse finished off his race on debut behind Gimme Rules, who I think is a very smart horse from the Dean Caname yard, the full brother to the Real Prince, Gimme a Prince, and Gimme's Countess. And I think that this horse just found one too good. I think this is the right type of race for him. I think that running a length to Gimme Rules is better than running a neck to Run Forest Run D's, and I think the 1200 meter trip should be no issue for this horse once again. Whereas Xenophon going over 1200 meters, I'm not so sure. I know that he comes from a sprinting family, but the way he finished off his race last time out would give me the indication that 1400 meters would suit him once again. But I mean, when you look at form, those 2 horses certainly stand out, but I think the 4 horse is good enough here.
Yeah, it is the start of the pick 6, so it's decision time on how you're going to play it, as it was on Hollywoodbets Durbanville July Day. You look back in hindsight at the horse like Another Dance for Me, Double Grand Slam, even a horse like King Pearls It just looks like, how did I miss the pick six? But it's all about structure, because it pays an absolute bomb. The pool got to a sizable amount, but in excess of 680,000. Wow, it really paid well. But coming back to this race, number one, Canal Skater is at 6 to 1. This horse, number 4, Next of King, actually opened up 17 to 10 and is now 13 to 10. And then we go on to Xenophon, who's trading at 17 to 10. Next of King, what's very encouraging about that first run is, having a chat with Matthew de Kock, who was on duty that day. He mentioned that, the horse doesn't show them much, and they're just wanting to see how he goes. And he ran a bold race because Gimme Rules, there was lots of confidence for him. And this horse put in an excellent run over 1,200 meters. And I think that horse, Gimme Rules, has got a very bright future for Dean Canamere. You mentioned the pedigree, etc., but just the manner in which he won first up. And this horse, he never threw in the towel, so more to come from him. Xenophon's last start, whilst there haven't been no direct winners, which is disappointing behind Run Forest Run, the Golden Goal, who took forever to win for the Doug Campbell stable, is a subsequent winner. I don't know the thinking behind dropping this horse in distance over 1,200 meters. Maybe Sean Terry just had a look at the field and he would have thought possibly can get away with it with this individual cracking a maiden win against this type of field. But he's come up against the de Kock horse that I feel is the runner to beat. So going to be bold here in leg one of the pick six with numbers 4 and 10 are the only runners. I'd like to include both horses in the PA and the bipod as well, and I think you'll have every chance to double or maybe go 100%. Balance of the runners, just one more horse I like here, and that's number 8, Cardinal Chief. Unfancied, 75 to 1, wasn't the worst of runs. 1,200 meters going to suit him much better. That's my trifecta quartet horse, but I think with numbers 4 and 10, most racing fans will be disappointed if they don't get through any of the exotics.
Trifecta quartet horse for me is going to be number 6, King of Victory. He was 4 lengths behind Next of Kin, behind Gimme Rules, and I think there could be further improvement to come. But 4 and 10, the horses to play around here in race number 3 on the program, and then you've got 6 and 8 to include into the minor positions.
Well, we're on to the start of Jackpot 1, race number 4, 1,200 meters, maiden plate fillies and mares. 14:05 is the off time. As we bring up the field, we'll have a look at some betting and use that as a guide at the time of recording. All this could change come race day because number 5 is trading at Trial Runner, that is trading at 33 to 10. Then we got number 6, Iridian, at 6 to 1. Horse number 9, Celestial Diamond, at 7 to 2. There is some huge betting support here. I say huge, but we know it doesn't take much to shorten first timers. 20 to 1, 12 to 1, 8 to 1, 7 to 1, 5 to 1, 9 to 2, now 4 to 1 at the time of recording for this first timer from the Lucinda Woodruff stable, Ibisu. Then we go on to Lucian, number 16, at 8 to 1. So when I jotted down selections, etc., the betting was out, but there was no support for number 15. Well, it's come now, I'm not going to say in a flood, because anti-post, you're not going to be able to win yourself buckets of money, but you will get the best price. Come race day, however, we'll see what happens with this horse, especially after getting a comment from Lucinda Woodruff. What does he say? Is there anything that she says in the front of the computer for?
We'll need the experience.
Shows promise, but we'll need the experience. So, shows promise is encouraging, need the experience is a negative, but maybe they think they can get away with it with this daughter of One World. So she has to be factored in the play for the bipod and the place accumulator and the jackpot. However, for the pick 6, you can possibly take a chance and exclude and go with the first timer rule. Place accumulator, I've got my numbers here, Ryan. I'm just going to go 2 runners, numbers 5 and 9. Sean Terry looks to have some fair runners. He could have a decent day with the horses that he steps out. Trail Runner, the last start behind Red Amber, the way she was finishing off that day, I think she'll enjoy the stiff 1,200 meters at Hollywoodbets Scottsville. And then Celestial Diamond, Duncan Howells is going to have a good idea against a horse like Lucien because he trains Ruby Rising that beat Lucien last time out. And this filly has had the experience at the course over 1,200 meters. Cabello's got the experience of riding her. I think she looks ready to win. 5 and 9 for me in the place accumulator. However, for the pick 6, I'll include 2 more runners, 1 and 16.
Yeah, I can certainly have that. These 1, 5, 9, 16 for the pick 6. That's 4 horses. But I think place accumulator, I think this horse is a banker, number 9, Celestial Diamond. I don't think she'll miss the top 3. I liked 2 starts a day. Last time I just found a first timer 2 good on the day from the Michael Miller yard. She was sent off as the favourite, expected to win, but just finding 1 too good. I think in this type of field, she'll be in the top 3. I think she's a horse to beat on her 2 runs date, and at 7-2, I can certainly see her shortening as we get closer to race time. I think she's likely to go off as a favourite, and one of the horses that there will be market confidence around. Not quite sure what to make of number 15. I had to look at the pedigree. She seems like she's looking for further. Dam was placed in the Oaks over 2,400 meters, and she's a half sister to Estimated, who did win once over 1,600 meters. So I think she's looking for further. Let's see how she goes over this 1,200 meter trip. Maybe 1 for quartets, but I think 9 is a horse to beat, and I'm happy with those forces you mentioned for the pick 6.
Okay, that's it. Here, race number 4 at 9 as a possible top choice, and the cover going to be number 5. Trailed runner for my place accumulator. So jackpot begins at 14:05.
Race number 5, start of jackpot, 1,600 meters is the distance for this event. Maiden plate, jackpot 2 rather, gets underway here. It is 14:45 the off time. World of Royalty, favourite here, number 5, 3-1 into 2-1. Number 1, El Capitan, 33-10. Limelight Legend at 5-1, Queen of the Air at 11-2, it is 14-1, and better bar those. Now we're having a look at the 5th race on the program. This Son of One World from the Nathan Cotton yard goes over the distance for the first time. Craig Zaki takes a ride. It will be interesting to see how he shapes up over this trip. He's a horse that has shown a bit of speed in his first 2 starts, so now going over the mile. It's going to be interesting. What do you make of that, Dees?
Yeah, at this time of the year, which is closer to the age turnaround at the end of the season, everything turns on the 1st of August. But at this stage of the season, over 1,600 meters, the weight village allowance is 9.5 kgs. So you're going to have to be the judge on where you rate this horse on what you've seen to date. The fact that he's run 3rd over 1,200 and 1,100. Can he be much better, or a reasonable rating you can give him once he goes over 1,600 meters? I personally think, of what I've seen to date, that this is his right distance, and the fact that he's been sprinting well is a big plus. He was punted last time out, like they knew the result, because he started off favourite and he ran a good race, but he could only manage 3rd. So 1,600 meters, the 2-year-old in open company, he's an obvious selection. You can't discount his chances on what he's shown to date. But there's some nice older horses here. One of them is El Capitan from a very informed yard of Garrett Van Zyl. Their horses are in a space where you can't discount them at all. And this horse, over 1,600 meters in his 2 comeback runs since that break in December, have been excellent. So drawn 1, big runner. 8, Limelight Legend. Finding 1 better at Hollywoodbets Greyville last time out on the poly track, on the turf at Hollywoodbets Greyville at that penultimate start, and even 3 starts back at Hollywoodbets Scottsville. So just seems to find 1 better on the day. But Jabu Jacobs has got the hang of things with this individual. Wouldn't be a surprise winner. So between numbers 1, 5, and 8, I think those numbers will be good for the barpot and the place accumulator. But then for the pick 6 and the jackpot, number 9, Queen of the Air, she takes on male rivals here, but that comeback run will have to keep you interested. I mentioned in a previous race the Golden Goal took forever to win for Doug Campbell, but nevertheless she was entitled to run a good race against that type of field, considering the amount of time she was off for. So how much more to come, I don't know. And then Bugle for Paul Lafferty with Muzi Eni up is open to any amount of improvement, considering that first start over 1,000 meters was way too short for him. He's another 2-year-old in the race. So once you look past numbers 1, 5, and 8, I think the horses to possibly include for the pick 6 are 9 and 12.
These, I'm looking for bit of a lunatic selection in this race here. Number 10, Twilight Warrior. I think at 16 to 1, it could be some nice value here. His Cape form lines, I mean, they're not the worst around. He's having his first start in KZN. Deep draw to contend with, but last time out he ran in an open maiden as a horse that did not have a rating, and he had to concede weight to most of his rivals that day, and he didn't really get into contention. But I think now that he's been rested, I think he would have matured in that time. I think the step up in triple suit him down to the ground, being out of a Silvano mare and a Son of Ideal World, and I can just see this horse making further improvement as he gets more runs under the belt. So at 16 to 1, he's going to be the roughie that I throw into this leg of the pick 6. Probably can't win the race, but if he happens to arrive, I think you'll certainly lose a lot of tickets. So I'm just going to include him as a bit of an outsider here.
Can't see him for the win. Trifectas and quartets, I'll be with you. If I had to choose between 3 and 10, I'll definitely choose 3 space over 10. But Wild likes number 10 as an outsider here in the pick 6 at a big price. I think it could be the winner should come from numbers 1, 5, and 8. Those are going to be the numbers for the PA and the bar pot. If you're looking for pick 6 selections, I like number 9. Wild thinks number 10. And then once you start looking past that, then the rule has to come into play, because if it's more than half the field, then it tends to be a field race. But race 5 should be a nice trifecta and quartet to catch. Well, we on to race number 6. Races 6, 7, and 8 are going to be the last pick 3 on the card. Generally gets to a sizable amount when we play local racing at any center. 1,750 meters, class 4 fillies and mares. If you want to know the time, it is an odd time, 18 minutes past 3. Bring up the field. Now, I was actually surprised with the horse that I like here and the price. Number 3, Hodgepodge, is at 9 to 2. Horse number 5, Princess Palace, is at 8 to 1. 6, Ideal Gift, from 6 to 1, that has come into 5 to 1. 9, Another Dream, is at 7 to 2. 10, LMB, is at 7 to 2. So numbers 9 and 10 at 7 to 2. Well, we know that 9 is a recent maiden winner. How impressed were you? Well, if you were impressed in the way this filly won, you'll include her in all bets. LMB's last start at the Val did make up good ground as the fastest finisher over that 1,800 meter trip. So those two runners dominate the betting. But the runner I like, and I do my comments and selections before I take down the betting, I thought that this horse will be favorite, number 3, Hodgepodge, but it's not. It's currently trading at 9 to 2, and I'm going to say this is the value on the card, the value on the day. Really like the way Stuart Ferry has gone about his business with this filly, and she is in solid form. So is the stable. On that last start behind Plum Pudding, and I'm just having a look at that form line. Among the clouds has been a subsequent winner. Queen Amina has come out to win from that form line. This horse is solid, and although yet to win at this track from that good draw, I think the horse to beat. I like this horse a lot. I'm going to banker this in the place accumulator rail, number 3, Hodgepodge. If I'm looking for cover in the pick 6, I'll go with the 2 runners that are priced up on top, numbers 9 and 10, as a possible dangers with respect to them. But I will tell you that this number 3, Hodgepodge, 9 to 2, looks very attractive.
I can definitely see this filly running a big race here for Stuart Ferry and Sean Veal. I thought her last run was a solid effort behind Plum Pudding. She hit the front and just found a couple too good. Queen Amina, Plum Pudding winning from that form line. But I think this horse, Ideal Gift, is a massive player. She's 2 kgs better off at the weight with Plum Pudding, well, with the Hodgepodge on that run through Plum Pudding, and there wasn't a lot to choose between them, 3rd and 6th. And I think that she could turn the form around. She's having a 3rd run after rest. She runs well at the track, win over course and distance, and her last start was an encouraging effort behind Azalea's 4. So I think she's going to run a huge race. I'm going to make her my top choice, followed by number 9, Another Dream, who I think there's plenty of scope for improvement still. It was a dominant performance last time out when beating Scarlet Heart from gate number 12. She's got a deep draw once again, but Chad Little and Lucinda, they'll have a plan as to how they could go about their business from gate number 9. So she's going to be the second choice. And then for third, I'll go with your horse number 3, Hodgepodge, and then the fourth pick, number 10, LMB. But I think 6 and 9, those are going to be my 2 horses for the place accumulator.
6 and 9 for Royal with the place accumulator with number 10 LNB. I'm going to be all in here with number 3 Hotspots for the PA and the bar pot. Pick 6. You can possibly consider 9, 10, and as Royal mentioned, number 6 Ideal Gift, who saves some of our better races for Hollywoodbets Scottsville.
Race number 7 on the day, penultimate race, Gallop TV B Stake, 1750 meters is the distance. Your last chance to get involved in a double bet at Hollywoodbets Scottsville on Wednesday. Lock and Key, favorite at 14 to 10. Number 2, Royal Invitation, is trading at 9 to 2 in the market. It's 5 to 1 about number 5, Turpin, 6 to 1, Dancing on a Cloud, 7 to 1, and better are those. Now, having a look at this race, D's, it seems to be a very, very trappy contest. But I'm gonna go with number 2, Royal Invitation. I've had a look at this filly's form, and just her last start in the Oaks, I thought it was a solid run. Only 3 lengths behind She's a Bomber. I think this is the right type of race for her. She jumped from gate number 2. She's had 3 runs in KZN, and I think she could well be ready now to put in her best performance in the province this season. I don't think she's a good thing. I think it's a very trappy race, but I'm going to make her the narrow top choice for myself here. I think she's nicely weighted in this contest.
Generally with these type of races, which is a B stakes, and I personally think, these type of races, there is some quality when it comes to the individuals because they've achieved their rating, and the average rating is an 89. And you can work around the form and try and narrow things down on what you see in black and white and what they represent. But in this race, however, I failed to do just that. And I'm going to suggest that in all bets, you're going to have to play it as wide as possible. In fact, I'm going to go as far as to suggest, if you don't like the favorite, which is the 3-year-old filly, number 6, Lock and Key, then my suggestion is include the field in the jackpot and the pick 6, and maybe even the last pick 3, because if she gets beat, the tickets will be well spread with the balance of the runners. So I am going to suggest 2 runners for the place accumulator. Number 6, Lock and Key, the obvious choice. And I'm going to go with Sean Veal's choice of rides with Twatwa Cut for Matthew and Mike de Kock, because he would have had the option of riding a horse like Turpitz. So I'm going to go with his choice of rides. So numbers 6 and 7 for the place accumulator and Hope to Survive. But if I had to pick a top choice in the race, I'll go with the 10 to 1 shot here, View of the World from the Paul Lafferty stable. I know that Mr. Paul has always rated this horse, the 3-year-old, and he hasn't been shy to put him in some highly competitive races. I say this because if you go 3 starts back, he ran over the course and distance with an average rating of an 82, and he ran a big bold race behind Miss Platina. The next 2 starts haven't been the worst. So at around 10 to 1 and assessing him over his course and distance records, which is faultless, then from draw number 3 in a small field, 10 to 1 could be a nice price there. That's going to be my each way play, number 3, View of the World. But it looks like a race where you either like something, play it narrow, or you're going to go wide in race number 7. Well, we're on to the lucky last, race number 8, C Stakes, 1,000 meters, the distance. If you're running in any of your bets, especially the exotics, well, you can't be confident with any of your selections here, and you'll be hoping that those numbers you have included fall into place, because this looks tough. It will be a sizable quartet to catch and close off your day. The betting is like so with horses in single figures. Number 2 in the bag at 8 to 1. 4 is Major Tommy at 7 to 2. 7 Polar Light at 6 to 1. 10 Raffer's Boy is at 7 to 2. And 12 B52 at 5 to 1. I actually feel this market is going to ease out more than the 7 to 2 between numbers 4 and 10 come race time, unless something really shortens dramatically in the betting market. This is an absolute nightmare in any of your bets. Well, I'm just going to give you numbers with short comments. I like number 4, Major Tommy, guard puller's runner. for some reason, that layoff back in November, and then the comeback run was a good effort behind Rafa's Boy, a horse that was a facile winner when he shed his maiden at the track over 1,000 meters. So Gavin Larena has jumped on. Gavin Larena is on a mission. He's developed a fair lead going into the last few weeks of the season, and he'll be hoping that he can keep his head in front with that jockey's title.
What do you think?
Yeah, it all depends on Kabeja. That's for me. And I see we're recording the show, on Tuesday for Wednesday. I see Gavin Larena is in Kabeja on Friday, but just 3 rides. So he's trying to possibly, go to other centers and bag some. But it's all about Fairview. And I don't see Richard Foury's name in KZN in any of these minor days, so I don't know what's his thought process. But he's been there, done that. It's such a tight race, and, Craig Zacky's got a suspension that's looming up on him as well. And I'm just reading on certain, groups that I'm on, that he's going to have to take that suspension, which is 2 weeks in July. So his chances could be gone. I don't know if there's going to be an appeal process or whatever, but that's for the authorities. We're just having a conversation about the jockey's title. So that is where we are with the jockey's title. But Larena, the way he's kept his name in the hunt, and he finds himself in a position now where he could go all the way to the line. It's going to be an exciting end to the season. So Major Tommy, coming back to this horse, that last start behind Rafa's Boy was a good comeback run. He'll tick the box for me. Number 10, Rafa's Boy, 64, they got Savannah riding the horse who's going for 3 on the bounce. It could be the smart move from Garrett, taking the weight off. Number 11, Rhythm. I like this from the Ellison right yard. I think at around 12 to 1 in the betting. I just need to double check that betting, because I was actually surprised that this horse was a 12 to 1 shot. Yeah, the horse is 12 to 1. So 12 to 1 in the betting, that's going to be my value in the race, Rhythm. And then B52 from the Peter Muscat stable. This horse is just waiting too long now to win. It's been a long time, 462 days. But that last start behind Rafa's Boy, I think will have every chance of reversing the form. So 4, 10, 11, and 12, playing around those numbers for the PA. But for the pick 6, this could be any type of result.
Yeah, it could be that, just that. I think looking for cover here in the pick 6. Number 4, Major Tommy. Yeah, I'm going to be with you as well. Gavin Larena riding for Godpuller. That has not happened in the last 12 months. Can't even recall when last I saw that combination team up. And
that's it. That's what happens. If you're going for a title and you don't generally ride for a stable because they got guys doing work in the morning, they got their stable jockeys and jockeys, then you ask for a favor. That's how it is. You're racing for a title and you just tell a twin, please give me a hand. I like your horse a lot. I think he's got a winning chance. I know that maybe costing somebody from your yard a ride on the day, maybe a winner on the day, but please, do us a turn. That's what it's about.
Speaking like a true agent.
Yeah, it is like that. It is, because that's what happens, especially when it becomes a tight race.
Yeah.
Hewitson beat Yenny by 1, I think, they won here.
Yeah.
On the last day of the season, it can get tight. This season I was really looking forward to it, and then between these 3 jockeys, but it may be a suspension for Craig, so his name is out of it. Richards, he's not coming to KZN. He doesn't go to Gauteng. Does he really want to win it? If he wanted to, he could possibly get rides in KZN and Gauteng.
He'd be well clear now.
Yeah, but Gavin, credit to him. He's really put his foot down.
Yeah.
He wants it.
Yeah, let's see if he can get it with the last race with number 4, Major Tommy. I think Jet Legacy could be worth cluing into the play, and then maybe even the 2-year-old filly taking on the boy. It's not going to be an easy task, but she does have weight off the back for trifectas and quartets. And then watch number 2 in the bag. First start for Michael Miller. His last 2 starts have not been encouraging, but last time I reported that he bled, and generally bleeders, their first run back is their best run, and he could be a horse to pop up at a big price here. But race number 8, a very, very trappy contest. 3 and 4 in the place accumulator for me. You heard Dees, he likes a bit of number 11 Rhythm at about 12 to 1 in the market. Competitive race to wrap up proceedings. But all the best with racing on Wednesday at Hollywoodbets Scottsville. Hopefully you manage to find some winners and find yourself in the winners queue.